based on wrong analysis of the situation in the country. The Nyanya movement was just for suppression, that we wanted to separate from the North, because the Northerners are different from us. They condescend on us. They do all kinds of things which are not good for us. So we must separate from them. And that is not solving the problem. It will not solve that problem. Like we have separated now. It's 20 years since the South became first as a sub-national entity. From 2005 to 2011, and from 2011 to now, it's 20 years. Has anything changed in this respect? We have separated from the North. Yabga al-kalam bila is not true, is not correct. It's not the correct one. So what happened? The National Democratic Revolution does not come by itself. It comes as a result of the struggle of the forces I told you before. And to implement the National Democratic Revolutionary Program. Any change you want to do or to undertake must have a program, a political program, which defines the processes which you will use in changing this terrible situation in which people were in. So, the objective, the strategic political objective of the National Democratic Revolution is the transformation of the situation, oppressive situation of poverty, of ignorance, of superstition, and cultural backwardness. You want to change this in order to improve the lives of people, such that they live in a dignified life. This condition, of course, as I said, as a result of being oppressed, being occupied and colonized by foreign powers. There's no way a foreign power would develop you, because as somebody, it was you before who defined, who said what neo-colonialism, what colonialism as the highest stage of capitalism. These colonialists came here not because they like us. No, they came here because they want to take our resources. You will recall that even those who wrote the geography and so on, they were looking for resources. They were trying to discover where the resources are. Because in Europe there is nothing there. There are no gold mines in Europe. There are no uranium mines there. Everything is here in Africa. So they had to colonize you to be able to assess these resources and own them. And that's why I said before that the first objective of any move, any struggle to become independent is to be able to control your resources and to protect them and to develop them. Now, if you look at what happened from 55 up to 72, the Anyanya could have been a factor. They could have been also a force. They could have been one of the forces of the National Democratic Revolution. 1972, they had to make a political compromise. A political compromise with the oppressive regime of Nayo, what is called the Addis Ababa Agreement. The Addis Ababa Agreement, of course, in the South here we celebrated it. The elitist class, the political class, and the educated class celebrated it because it gave them power in the context of what they call local or regional self-rule. But the Addis Ababa Agreement itself did not solve the problem. And that's why later, 10 years or 11 years later, war broke out again. And even before that, many of the camps, they were the units of Nyanya, which were absorbed into the Sudanese army. They mutinied, they rebelled. The last one was in Kobo, 75, which now form the Anyanya 2 in Western Ethiopia. But there were camps of Anyanya 2 in Western Upper Nile, in Northern Barakazal, in Abyei, all these areas, because people were not satisfied with what was happening here in Juba. So the war broke out again, 1983, and SPLA came out with a slogan of United Socialist Sudan. Many of us who were in the Communist Party, of course the Communist Party does not favor the armed struggle as a means for social change. The Communist Party model is that of the workers, the struggle, political struggle in the towns, in the cities, and winning rights, political rights, civic space through this struggle. So I did not really entertain the idea of even members joining. And but we thought the situation in South Sudan was a bit different from what it was in the north. And not even in the north, in the small triangle of Khartoum, Jazeera, El Obeid, up to Atbara and Port Sudan. This is where you have working class, people you would really call, who could really lead this kind of... In South Sudan you had peasants and cattle herders and students and maybe all employed by the state. So we said, but the peasants and the pastoralists, well, the pastoralists are a bit, backward in there. The peasants are a bit higher. If you look at the human ladder of development, of course, the peasants, the pastoralists, the nomads are the least, they are the most backward of the, but they have a potential, revolutionary potential by, politically educating them, ideologically training them. You can turn them into a force for change. And that is, it has been tried. The Communist Party in China used the peasants. It was the peasants who won the war against the Japanese and against the nationalists under Chiang Kai-shek. So they have a potential, a revolutionary potential which can be used. And in fact, if you look at China, what happened? The People's Republic of China, between 1949, when they took over, and now, so many years, about 72 years or so. No, 77 years. They have now become a force, actually the first economy in the world, as a result of this revolution that took place. But, of course, and then I'm coming towards what I meant before by the program, of the political program of the National Democratic Revolution. Because it must have a program. And what are this program for change? What are they? Of course, as I said, the SPLM is, or was actually, one of the forces of national democratic revolution in the Horn of Africa, alongside the TPLF, the APLF, you see. But unfortunately, at a certain stage in the development and the evolution of the SPLA, there has been a shift, an ideological shift to the right. And as a result, it could not turn itself into a force that would really struggle to the end in order to realize the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution. And that's why, in the end, we had to have another political compromise between the SPLM, SPLA, and the National Congress Party to end the war and then to share power. Yabga, the idea of the